Um,
Again. Oh, yeah, messed that one up.
yeah, you're right. We do I need to call a grown ass man and say, hey, are you doing your job?
Okay, so now you want to pass the buck. So you go from, oh yeah, no, I screwed up to, do I have to call a grown ass man and ask you do your job? Hey, asshole, that was your job. You didn't do your job. Matter of fact, you really, when you really break it down into its most simplest form, you had one job, and that was to keep Charlie Kirk alive. So don't be making those faces, trying to pass the buck. You had one job.
Do I need to do that?
You shouldn't.
And
And by the way, these guys didn't get fired after that. Like you would think if Erica Kirk is taking over as Turning Point USA and that the people at Turning Point USA were all his family and his close friends that always had his best interests at heart, you would think that he dies, that the first thing that they're going to do is shit can the whole security team. Right? Yes or no? Like they had one job. And now they're saying, oh, there was the one spot on the roof and he only had a couple of seconds and that, like making all these excuses that don't even make sense. That don't even make sense. Like they're trying to explain something that really couldn't have happened. They're trying to lie and explain something that didn't happen, and they're not even like doing a good job at that. And Shawn Ryan is doing the best that he can to try to carry this freaking interview and make him look decent. And all he did in this, all Shawn Ryan accomplished in this interview was discrediting himself for the freaking deep state shill that he is, Mr. Blackwater himself.
this is, it's,
Especially a man in that position.
and it's like,
See, there he goes, carrying him again, because Brian Harpole knows that he's full of shit. This guy knows that he's full of shit, and he's sweating, and he's stumbling, and he's nervous. And you're gonna see it's gonna be a pattern in this that Shawn Ryan's gonna just every time he pauses and he gets lost, he's gonna try to pull him back in, and it's like bowling with the bumpers up, like he's every time that this guy's it's like he's aiming for the gutter, and Shawn just keeps trying to keep him bouncing.
okay, man, I'm not a fan, but Bill Belichick won for a reason. He told his people, hey, do your job. And hey, if you don't want to do your job, that's fine. Do the job you said you were going to do.
Like the job you said you were going to do and keep Charlie Kirk safe.
About hand and arm signals, from the security team. There's been.
And notice, when they talk about the hands and arm signals, pay attention to what signals they're going to call out.
Been concerns about it from my own personnel that work here. I've worked security details, done a lot of sniper work.
Did you ever use hand and arm signals?
I use hand and arm signals every single time on every detail, everywhere I went. And, one of the rumors was, oh, he's got the ball cap. He did the ball cap wiggle. That's the Marine Corps sniper. I've done a lot of sniper operations. Nobody wears ball caps.
So that was my lead question. You ever use hand signals? And it's like, yes.
Yes.
Were your hands...
And you would already establish, I'm going to cover for you here.
Yeah.
Because that...
You see? Shawn Ryan just said it himself. I'm going to cover for you here. And now remember, he's asking Shawn Ryan if he ever used hands and arm signals. And he said yes on every detail. But he's trying to discredit with the ball cap. But he's saying that he used them on every single detail. And then when Brian Harpole's trying to speak, now Shawn Ryan is cutting in again, saying, I'm going to cover for you. It's like, why do you feel the need to cover for him, Shawn? Why don't you let him speak for himself? Isn't this whole interview so that we can hear his words, hear what he has to say and his side of the story? I think it's really crazy that he even, like, the second they bring up the hand signals, which is like a dead giveaway for what happened, that Shawn actually says out loud, I'm going to cover for you here. And watch how badly Brian Harpole shits the bed right now.
this is a rumor that I just fucking hate
I know.
because that is what it takes. You can't be on the radio all the time because you're tying the net up. We had already established that you had other security professionals within the crowd that you're trying to communicate with, and that's how you do it. That is
Okay, so Shawn Ryan is saying that's how you do it, meaning using hand signals is how you work a security detail. Brian Harpole is head of security. And Shawn Ryan is saying, when I did security, I do security. We do hand signals every time. We don't do the ball cap one, but we do hand signals every time because that's how it gets done, or whatever the hell he's saying. Now, watch Brian Harpole's response.
is how you do it.
Well, I'll speak to this one. You're using hand signals, or if you were to use hand signals, and those are an option, especially like under MVG or things like that. One, are those hand signals normal ones that you would see during normal gesticulation? Or those definitive hand signals? They're definitive so that they can't be confused with a guy scratching his ass. And so that's the first one. The second one is that hand signal, when a bubble team is there, we're not using hand signals. Sniper details, absolutely. Why? Because you can see that. Are we looking around at each other looking for hand signals? We're looking at in the front in our area of responsibility. If we needed to.
Okay, so Shawn Ryan was saying that he used hand signals every time, that's how you do the job. That's how it gets done. Brian Harpole, the head of security, says, yeah, when we do sniper detail, we use the signals. But when we're doing security for Charlie Kirk, we don't use hand signals. Like, no, we're looking at the crowd. We're protecting the danger. We're looking everywhere except for the one particular spot where the alleged shooter was, but they're not using hand signals. We'll see how that matches up with the footage in a little bit.
To relay a message, then we would, hey, right here on comms. Right? And or we're notorious for, if I need to get somebody's attention on the team, I'm not going to sit there and use a hand signal if he's in my line of sight. I'm just going to go like that. He's going to look up and I'm going to go. And so.
Yeah, he's so full of shit. Now he's pulling out props. I'm going to pull out my flashlight at noon in broad daylight to get their attention. I'm not going to do hand signals. Like, what is this? What is this? They weren't doing hand signals. Is it a definitive signal or is he scratching his ass?
If I looked up and did a hand signal on the team and did that or that, he's going to look at me like, so what do you want me to do then? Right?
So you got Shawn Ryan saying that he uses hand signals every time. And now Brian Harpole saying, well, if I try to give my guys hand signals, they're not going to know what I'm talking about. They're going to get confused. Is anybody buying this right now? Can you see why people like me have believed that these guys are full of shit since day one?
So for that's not good communication. It has to be definitive. It has to be necessary.
It could be an acknowledgement.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yep. Receipt.
get me out of here.
Yep. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah. And what you're doing there is deliberate.
Whoa, what was that? You see, now this is the best part because Shawn Ryan, he was trying to run cover for him and saying that this is not a signal with the ball cap. Brian Harpole goes on this whole rant about how they don't use hand signals. And then he's talking about, is it definitive or are they scratching their ass? And then when he describes a definitive hand signal, he does the exact hand signal that Dan Flood did the moment before Charlie Kirk was shot. Is it me?
We're notorious for, if I need to get somebody's attention on the team, I'm not going to sit there and use a hand signal if he's in my line of sight. I'm just going to go like that. He's going to look up and I'm going to go. And so if I looked up and did a hand signal on the team and did that or that, he's going to look at me like, so what do you want me to do then? Right. So for that, that's not good communication. It has to be definitive. It has to be necessary.
It could be an acknowledgement.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yep. Receipt.
get me out of here.
Yep. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah. And what you're doing there is deliberate.
Now, it doesn't show Shawn Ryan doing it, but Shawn Ryan did it. This is the slick part. Shawn Ryan was trying to save him. He wasn't bringing up the damn flood motion because Brian Harpole is trying to say. First, he brought up the one with the hat, and he's saying, "Oh, this we never did." And he was waiting for Brian Harpole to come up with an excuse for Dan Flood's hand motion that he did the moment before Charlie was killed. And Brian Harpole decided to go the other way and say, we don't do hand signals at all. So then Shawn Ryan tries to bail him out. Watch this one more time. He's trying to give him an out right now for the Dan Flood hand signal, and he does it himself. It's off camera because now Shawn Ryan knows that Brian Harpole is full of shit and he doesn't want to implicate himself on camera. So he's doing it off camera. And then fucking dumbass Brian Harpole is like, see that? That's a hand signal. That's definitive. It's like, no shit, that's definitive. That's what we've all been talking about the whole time. Now watch, get ready. You're not going to see it, but you got to look for Brian Harpole's reaction. Shawn Ryan is going to do the damn flood hand signal, and then Brian Harpole is going to be like, see, that's definitive. That's a hand signal.
That or that, he's going to look at me like, so what do you want me to do then?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
Brian Harpole might be the dumbest motherfucker I've ever seen in my
life. It has to be
life.
definitive. It has to be necessary.
It could be an acknowledgement.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Watch.
Yep. Receipt.
get me out of here.
Yep. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah.
See?
What you're doing there is deliberate.
He's saying what you're doing there is deliberate because Shawn Ryan just did it. He just did it. What is it? 137.33.
Receipt.
Get me out of here.
Yep.
See? He's trying to give him the out. He's like, it could be get me out of here. And Brian Harpole is just going over his head. I swear to God, this guy is the dumbest.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what you're doing there is deliberate. Yeah. These are deliberate.
You know?
Yeah. So, no, we don't use hand signals on that one. We didn't use hand signals.
And he ends it off. And after all that, he ends it off. He's like, so, no, we don't use hand signals. It's like, yo. Like, yo, I swear to God, if Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and the entire Trump administration wasn't compromised right now, the FBI would have been waiting outside the door to cuff this guy after this interview. And you can't tell me otherwise. Just this alone is an implication. This alone is a freaking direct implication. You got the head of security sitting there spilling his guts about how they could have got the drone, but they didn't get the drone. Everyone else uses hand signals, but we don't use hand signals. Then he points out that the hand signal that was done, that he's trying to deny, wasn't a hand signal. When Shawn Ryan does it, he does it himself on camera, and he says, that's a definitive hand signal. Like, yo!
And signals other than the general ones. Here. Two people. Here. You know,
Yo, like,
none of that was done.
I've been in the restaurant business for years, okay? Like, that's what you do when you're trying to, like, when you're, like, managing a diner and you're trying to tell the other guys, you're telling the busboy how many place settings to put out because you're about to see the table.
Actually, it has to be necessary.
I gotta play it one more time. I'm sorry.
It could be an acknowledgement.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yep. Receipt.
get me out of here.
Yep. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah. And what you're doing there is deliberate. Yeah. These are deliberate.
You know?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, no, we don't use hand signals on that one. We didn't use hand signals on that day. We've never used hand signals other than the general ones. Here. Two people. Here. You know? None of that was done.
Go down that rabbit hole.
Did you ever use hand and arm signal?
Different call signs.
I use hand and arm signals every single time on every detail.
Different call signs.
Are those definitive hand signals?
Mm-hmm.
That hand signal, what you're doing there is deliberate. Yeah. So,
Why aren't they trying to stop the bleeding?
no, we don't use hand signals.
This is a mind virus.
Why aren't you asking why? What does Candace say? We don't know, but we know. I think I know.
This was obviously, at least from my opinion, a professional hit.